and welcome to Jackrabbit Trader, where we teach you how to stop predicting and start reacting. My name is Steve, and in this video we're going to take a look at the markets and trade setups for next week, being July 3rd, 2017. Before we get started though, I just want to point out one quick thing. Posted another issue of the Jackrabbit Report, issue number 4, this past week, which is 5 steps to get you started in the stock market. And essentially it outlines all the steps you need, a couple trade ideas, and we have some good comments on that so far. So definitely go over there, check that out if you haven't had a chance to yet. That can be found at jackrabbittrader.com/reports, and again, issue number 4. The other thing I want to point out is, if you're not already a member, it's a free membership. It's an email only membership to join the Jackrabbit Club. Essentially, that is where we go ahead and we take this video where we outline some trade setups, and we go a little bit further and go into the actual managing of those trades and actually adding trades, and we basically follow my long-term portfolio. So if you're not a member, just go ahead, click this button, either one, but go ahead, check it out. You'll be on the email list, and you'll get the video that I'm going to produce after this one. So you'll find that video here as well. Again, only available to email subscribers. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the market. So the first one we want to look at is the SPY. All right, and again, we're looking at a 4-year weekly chart. And as you can see, we had a crazy week. There was, if we look at it from a daily perspective, you could see we had some down days here. Well, this was the 27th, which was Tuesday. All right, so essentially Monday we opened higher, closed lower. Tuesday, big down day. Wednesday, big up day. Yesterday, big down day. Today, opened higher and closed lower. So there's definitely some selling pressure in the market overall. But again, when you zoom out and you take a look at the overall trend, what are we really doing? We're just consolidating. All right, we've had a huge move. And now you can see we have 1, 2, 3 bars that were all inside bars. This one is a little bit more of an engulfing pattern, where we opened above the previous body, closed below it. But I like to look at an engulfing pattern more for the range, especially on a weekly chart. So I wouldn't necessarily consider this a true weekly engulfing, but maybe pointing to some downside pressure. I really think that 2400 level here at 240 in the SPY, but 2400 on the SPX is important. If we could stay above that, stay above this trend, we may just consolidate. And don't forget, we could break this trend line by time, and that would essentially be us just consolidating, further and further out. And maybe it's going to do that for a little bit, but right now we're at the point where again, it was a roller coaster of a week, but when you zoom out and look at it, not really much to go off of. QQQ a little bit different. All right, this is really where all the selling pressure came from. Again, you could see had this huge move higher, and then 3 weeks ago we had a big candle down. Again, came down, tested what I'm considering support around this 137 area. Okay, then we had a bounce. Now we had a move. This is an engulfing pattern. Okay, again, we basically opened higher, closed lower from the previous week. So this could very well trigger more downside. But where is that downside really going to take us if we do get it? To me, it would be trend line. Okay, we would come down into this trend line, maybe fill this small gap that we have here between 134 and 132.80. Maybe somewhere in there, maybe find support at the previous breakout level. Okay, maybe right in there. So maybe we just do find our way back there. But as of right now, again, still holding that support level. And you could see still holding that 137.50 area. But we do see, which I've indicated here, essentially a lower high. Okay, so you have this high, came up, now you have a lower high. So it may be triggering or signaling some moves back to the downside. But again, until we break that 137.50 area, I'm just considering it as a consolidation. DIA, the diamonds, looking at the Dow, again, breakout, moving higher. And, again, looking at the week, look at it on the daily chart, okay? You could see that we had this move here, came up, but have really just consolidated for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 days, okay? 14 days that we've just gone sideways, still holding that 212.80 area. And again, that's kind of where I'm at. I would say the line in the sand here is probably going to be closer to that 210 area. All right, anything below 210 to me means a false breakout. Maybe we're not actually breaking out, consolidating, then we may end up in this range here. But again, for right now, I think it's just a standard consolidation. Maybe it was the week, knowing it, the week ahead is a holiday week here in the US. Who knows? Last but not least, IWM, the Russell, you could see breaking out and just moving sideways. Really not much more to discuss there. Again, trend line in place. I would say trend line, when we start failing on that trend line, then then maybe it's a cause for concern. But for right now, everything still indicates trend is higher. We had a couple of rough days, but trend is higher based on the weekly. All right, let's take a quick look at the sectors for over the last week. The outperforming sectors were the XLF with the bank news, the stress test. Those came in higher. You'll see some of those in the watch list. The XLV continues to move very well, up 5.91% in the last month. XLI continuing to move. I think you really want to stay away from energy. All right, we talked about that in the Jackrabbit Club last week. And you'll even see it on the homepage of the of jackrabbittrader.com. I was in a marathon oil trade. It didn't work out. I got out, and it's continued to go lower since. XLK, similar to what we talked about in the QQQ, looking like maybe there's some downside pressure there. Again, same lower high. Okay, here's the high. Here's another high. So maybe we're coming back into that trend line. Maybe it's back at this 53 level. I would try and stay away from those. XLP, there's a couple on the watch list this week that would be shorts in my book. Whether you want to trade that or not, I will not trade those in the long-term account, but I do trade them in my trading account. But again, that is what I'm seeing in the XLP. So really, that's where you want to kind of concentrate. XLF, XLV, XLI would be where you'd want to be long. And probably want to stay out of the XLP, XLK, and XLE, at least for initiating new trades. If it's something that's part of your longer term process, then definitely keep those on and manage them how you will. All right, so let's go through these real quick. I got about 10 names here. If you saw last night, today being Friday, so last night being Thursday, I did put a list of about 12 names out that were so far on the list, but with today's action, some made it, some got added. So the first one, Bank of America. All right, you can see trending higher, and we put in a high. All right, now we've come back, sort of like a small pullback, and consolidated. Let that trend line catch up, and now we're breaking out here on BAC. All right, so do with it what you will. If you want to add that position, my stop, pretty straightforward here, would be any type of close. Probably, I would even take it a little bit lower. Size my position to that 22 area. So anything below 22, a close below 22 for me, I would be out. But looking at this may be a nice little reversal pattern after hitting that trend line. We might as well just stick with the financials real quick. You can see I have 3 of them. JPM, similar situation. All right, made that high, came back, consolidated in that range, and strong breakout here. Now this one is close to a resistance level. All right, so 93. I would be considering resistance, but this could be a good spot to add to that position. Maybe with the stop all the way down here, you're gonna have a small position size to begin with that you could always add to later. But maybe this is just where you want to start getting involved. Maybe this doesn't hold. But all in all, it is a breakout, all right? And that's what we look for. At least what I look for are these breakouts, either from pullbacks or breakouts to new highs. This one being a little different in that we have some resistance above. and WFC. All right, same thing here. All right, we have this trend line in place. We have these highs, breakout. You can see at one point we're all the way up to around 56.60, but with the action this week, closed closer to 55, and that has to be expected. Okay, so there's one thing to be trading to new highs, everything breaking out to new highs, not much resistance. This one you got to think about, again, the trader mentality, people looking to sell up here, but that 55 area is where we finished. All right, DAL, all right, breaking out to new highs again. We had a dump basically right at the end of the day Friday, and a lot of these were much higher. So again, not sure if it's from the weekend or what, but these are still technically breakouts. And you can see here a nice breakout, and this would be again a wider stop for me. I would be probably down here around the 44 area, just because there's really not much else as far as consolidation or anything. And you could see that it did break out above those highs from the end of November, beginning of December. GE, this would be a short in my book, and essentially what I'm looking at here is a break of a longer term trend line. Let's zoom out a little bit more. 5-year week. Okay, so you can see this longer term trend line. We moved higher. All this consolidation above us, tried to come up and get back into that range, hit that 29 level, and again sold off 2 weeks ago. Big sell off last week, continuation. So this one may be one that it just continues to break down. It may be one that's overextended to the downside, but nonetheless it is a breakdown along a downtrend. Again, that is not something that I look at trading in my long-term accounts. There's absolutely no shorting in my long-term accounts, but from a trading perspective, I'm throwing it out there for you in case you're interested. GIS, let's clear this drawing set. There's a lot of mess here. All right, so what I'm looking at here on GIS is essentially you had this uptrend in place, that failed. All right, now you have this downtrend in place all the way from the highs. All right, squish it down, move in a little bit, makes everything look better. And I'm looking at a consolidation. We're going to find the high, find the low. All right, and now we have a breakdown. You can even see just on this week alone, we tested all the way up to the top of that box, which is around 57.70. Now, all in all, looks good from there, but the one thing you do have to be aware of is there's a very significant level right here around 54.50, and you can see it was resistance. All right, so it came up, hit, pulled back, came up, hit, pulled back, finally broke out, then retested, and it's supported. Okay, supported, and now we're moving up. So it is a breakdown, but how far it could go, I'm not sure. Kellogg. All right, we are looking at the potential breakdown again. All right, similar situation to GIS, but again we have that level here, which is pretty significant. All right, right here around 69.50, and you can see resistance, came up, broke down, but then became support. All right, so again, if you can get that breakdown and that close below 69.50, you probably have some room to run on this, maybe even all the way down to 61. But for right now, being that it was up at 74 2 weeks ago, now down at 69, not sure how much room you have in that one. All right, LYB, you had this downtrend line that was broken, and I'm considering this a retest of that downtrend line and a potential breakout higher. All right, and what I'm looking at is that maybe what we're doing is we're actually testing the backside of this trend line, which is very possible. All right, putting a new trend line in place and breaking out to the upside. Now you do have some downside pressure here in another downtrend, but with the move that it had this week, considering the week we had, this may not be a bad play here, especially if you're looking to be long some material names. Again, going into that sector, the XLB has performed well, is consolidating, basically near the highs. So it's not like it hasn't been a good performer. It's definitely outperformed the SPY over the last month. Again, maybe a good one to throw into the mix. PWR, very similar situation to to LYB. All right. But again, you have that downtrend line in place that you just have to kind of contend with. So it may not get much of a move out of it, but a nice reversal off of a potential trend line. Viacom, VIAB, downtrend, long period of consolidation. Going back to what I talked about earlier, this is where you break a trend line by price, by time, not necessarily price. Had this big move and now consolidating right at the lows. Really, for me to get short this one, I would have rather seen a bigger break, maybe like down to like the 32.50 area, just to really get that nice red candle. But if it continues, this is one I'm going to keep on the list. If it continues, this is probably one that I will short next Friday. All right, Verizon, similar situation to the other two in Kellogg and GIS, where you are getting that breakdown, but you do have some support here at the 44 level. And again, Verizon, we were up at 47.50 2 weeks ago. So I'm not saying it can't continue down. That's definitely not at all what I'm saying. Just that your risk reward ratio here may be a little off. And finally, the WFC, which we went over. So that's the watch list for this week. Again, 10 names or so, a couple shorts. Financials look really strong. Do it what you will, but if you're a Jackrabbit Club member, as I said earlier, you'll be receiving another video shortly, and that'll go over how I'm monitoring and managing my existing trades, and I'm even going to take one of these trades and I'm going to be adding it to my portfolio because it fits. It fits within the portfolio, and from a longer term perspective, I think the pattern and the technical setup look well. All right, so again, head on over to jackrabbittrader.com, check out the website, check out that article, sign up for the Jackrabbit Club, and until next time, remember to stop predicting and start reacting. Have a great rest of the weekend.